Sorry for the delay, friends. Let's begin. Chapter 227. A while later, Lu Fan teleported to Tianfu Island with all his dragons. He paused for a moment, his eyes soft with emotion. "It's been a while," he said softly. Then, without waiting, he headed off to meet his friends. After a short while, Lu Fan returned to his friends. The moment he saw them, a warm smile appeared on his face. Without wasting time, he introduced them to the new companion he had just met. As soon as everyone saw the creature, their eyes lit up with joy. Some began playing with it, while others gently teased it with affection. "Wow, it looks quite fierce, but at the same time, it's so cute," someone exclaimed. "Look at it, it's grinning just like a little rice dumpling," another said in surprise. "And even though it's so small, it already knows how to protect its master," someone added. Hearing their words, Lu Fan smiled softly. "It's still just a little baby," he said, "and quite shy too. Seeing so many people at once has made it a bit nervous. Give it some time. It will slowly get used to all of you." Meanwhile, Xiaoji, who always felt a hint of jealousy whenever Lu Fan brought home a new little creature, couldn't help but feel uneasy. A quiet worry rose in his heart. What if, with this new companion, Lu Fan's attention towards him began to fade? Auntie, yes, the true master of the kitchen, soon returned, carrying a plate filled with the rich aroma of freshly cooked meat. The warmth of the food seemed to spread through the air itself. With a gentle, loving smile, she called out, "Kids, it's time to eat. Come, Jildi, I've made something special just for you." She paused for a moment, her eyes shining with a hint of pride. "It's my secret recipe, made with grilled ribs." The moment Xiaoji spotted the delicious meat in Aunt Han's hands, her eyes sparkled with excitement. Without a second thought, she darted forward, snatched a piece, and ran off at full speed. Lu Fan and the others could only stand there, stunned, watching the whole scene unfold. Seeing their reactions, Aunt Han chuckled softly and reassured them. "Don't worry, there's plenty more where that came from." Then, with gentle care, she picked up a tender piece and offered it to the little dragon who had just arrived. Her voice softened with affection. "Here, try this. I made it especially for you. And this soft piece, I saved it just for you." But the little dragon only looked at her quietly. It didn't move, didn't reach out, as if it had no desire to eat at all. A faint concern spread through the air. Lu Fan gently lifted the little dragon into his arms, holding it close. His expression turned serious, a trace of worry in his eyes. "Don't worry," he said softly, though his voice carried unease. "This little one has always had a small appetite. It didn't even touch its eggshell, even though it needed it the most." He paused, his grip tightening ever so slightly. "I'm starting to worry. What if it's unwell? What if its condition gets worse?" Seeing Lu Fan's concern for the little dragon, Sister Han quietly retreated to the kitchen to prepare something fresh. A few other girls followed her, hoping that perhaps by working together they could create something the little creature might finally eat, something that would make it feel at home. Meanwhile, Lu Fan gently set the little dragon down on the ground. His voice was soft and comforting. "You're safe here. You can play, all right." But the moment the dragon took a few tentative steps forward, Xiaoji couldn't help herself. With a mischievous glint in her eyes, she used her powers to tease it. The instant she applied even the slightest pressure to its wing, a sharp shriek rang out. The little dragon collapsed to the ground, trembling, and burst into tears. Lu Fan's heart tightened. Without a moment's hesitation, he rushed forward, scooped the little creature into his arms, and held it just as tightly as one would comfort a frightened child. "Is your wing hurt?" he asked gently. But the little dragon merely gazed up at him with innocent, tear-filled eyes and continued to weep. Lu Fan held it even closer, his face etched with deep concern. Then he turned toward Xiaoji and said, softly yet firmly, "It isn't as strong as you are?" He looked back at the little dragon, his voice growing even softer with affection. "Next time, you must be more careful. You have been frail since birth. Your body cannot withstand much strain." Sitting safely in his arms, the little dragon suddenly stuck its tongue out at Xiaoji. For a moment, silence fell. Then Xiaoji's temper flared even higher. At that very moment, Xiao Fei stepped in, positioning herself in front of the little dragon like a shield to protect him. "Brother, don't stop me," she called out, her voice filled with determination. And so the tension lingered. Until about an hour later, Sister Han returned. In her hands she held a freshly prepared dish, still warm and emitting a comforting aroma. As she approached, she gently extended the plate and with a hopeful smile said, "Come, let's see if this little creature likes it or not." Aunt Han was known as the finest cook in the entire region. Lu Fan trusted her completely. After all, every dragon on the island loved her food. If anyone could win over this little dragon, it was her. With quiet confidence, she placed a freshly prepared dish in front of the little one and said gently, "Go on, give it a try. I'm sure you'll like it." The moment the little dragon looked at the plate, it froze. Its eyes widened, its tongue slipped out, and a hint of drool gathered at its mouth. For a second, hope filled the air. Lu Fan smiled faintly. Aunt Han's eyes sparkled. She was certain she had succeeded. But then, something unexpected happened. The little dragon suddenly shut its eyes tightly. The warmth in the air faded. A trace of disappointment crossed Aunt Han's face. "I thought I was a master cook, yet even this didn't please it," she wondered quietly. The dragon slowly stepped back and hid itself in Lu Fan's arms. Lu Fan was puzzled. He couldn't understand what went wrong. After a moment, he sighed softly. Perhaps every dragon has its own taste. Still, deep down he had believed Aunt Han's cooking would surely make this little one wag its tail in joy. But just then, something changed. Aunt Han's eyes lit up again, with determination. "I will find a dish," she declared firmly, "one that can satisfy even a hunger carried through ages." And with that resolve, she turned and left. Watching her go, Lu Fan smiled faintly. Even without fighting battles, she always carried the spirit of one. Then, looking down at the little dragon, a thought crossed his mind. It's time to take this child to the Life Dragon King. Moments later, Lu Fan set off, and in the blink of an eye, he arrived. Before him stood the Vishal tree, glowing softly. Lu Fan's heart lifted. He had already told the Life Dragon King about Winter's condition and had asked for the seed of life under the pretense of restoring her strength. But the truth was simpler. The Life Dragon King had said, "The seed isn't necessary. As long as Winter stayed beneath the tree and absorbed the breath of life, she would slowly recover." Others had grown strong here too, reaching even the 60th level. Lu Fan knew this well. As Winter approached the tree, she began to breathe deeply. Almost instantly, her expression eased. She felt better. And seeing that, Lu Fan finally relaxed. The next day, at Dragon Capital Academy, inside the Job Changer Hall, Lu Fan and his friends gathered once again. Now that they knew Qin Ku and the others had reached level 60 at the Life Dragon King's domain, it was time to return, to move forward to the next stage of their journey. 2 days later, Lu Fan visited Villa Number 2. He had come to fulfill a promise. The dragon-devouring king had assured him, "The seed of life is a miraculous treasure. Once I fully absorb it, I will help you destroy the ancient god's mountain." Hearing those words, Lu Fan fell into deep thought. After this, I must head to the far north. I need to investigate the movements of the Lord of the Blood Moon and take that corrupted relic to Senior 2 to see if it holds any hidden secrets. The path ahead was uncertain,